Let's end 2018 right with the top 10 most expensive comics of all time. Welcome, comic book fam. We did it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
We went through all of them.
Yeah, we covered the modern top 10 of Overstreet.
We got bronze and copper.
We had to do silver. A lot of Stan Lee Kirby goodness on that list.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be wondering, what about the Golden Age comics? What about the top 10 most expensive Golden Age comics? Well, we're talking about the top 10 all-time comic books right now, and all those comics are gold.
They absolutely are. So we're going to jump in right now with a three-way tie at number 10.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into it.
Well, topping off the list, like we said, is a three-way tie at number 10, is Detective Comics 31. Okay, this Golden Age book, one of the top Golden Age covers of all time. Okay, this book itself got me most interested in Golden Age. Okay, it was redone in Batman 227 by Neil Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's iconic in its own. So to have two master covers like that just becomes such great hits. It's amazing. Check it out sometime. It just shows Batman how looming and how dark he can be over this castle. And this book has got a lot of keys to it. Okay, it has the first appearance of the Batarang, first Bat plane, his first real villain. Okay, the monk, Mad Monk, who's actually a superpowered villain, who's really a vampire. Okay, and we get to meet Batman's first love interest, his fiancée at the time. So it's a really cool book with a lot of historical to it, and really the second most expensive detective book there is, right behind Tech 227, like the first appearance.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing book all around.
This book's seen some gains, too.
It has. This book by Overstreet says near mint 9.2 is $300K, which is up 11%. Okay, there has not been many sales of actually any I've seen on GPA of 6.0. Higher than 6.0, really.
Are there even any that were unrestored?
No unrestored 6.0 copies have been recorded on GPA, period.
Dang.
And that last sale was, I believe, last year for $175K. So if you see a 9.2,
Yeah,
can't even
sky's
fathom.
the limit.
It is.
Right.
Just like the next one on this list, we have All-Star Comics number 8. This is the first appearance of Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
This is a huge grail. This is a huge key. Okay, let's break it down. All-American Publications. They teamed up with National Periodic Publications to pump out All-Star Comics. This was the first superhero team-up in history. This is the JSA, Justice Society of America. Issue 8, there was an idea to try out a new character. What happened? A 9-page added superhero story featuring Wonder Woman for the first time. A 9-page story written by William Marston, who actually had two love interests, two partners. He was in an open relationship, very progressive at the time. And both of those partners had actually given him the idea to write a female lead in this new story that would not just become a success, but that would lead into Sensation Comics #1, Wonder Woman's first solo series.
And there's also a great movie. I think it's available on Netflix right now. It's called Marsden's Wonder Woman. It was released last year. And yes, it tells a lot more about him.
Didn't he also have something to do with the polygraph test?
Yeah, I mean, he's a well-known psychologist, and he actually invented the polygraph. And now this female superhero that will go on and transcend decades.
Very good. This book, seeing a lot of gains year over year. Overstreet's putting a near mint minus price at $300,000. This is a $40,000 increase, 15% year over year. And I looked up some recent sales. In 2017, there was a 9.4 that exceeded $900,000.
That is absolutely crazy. Well, rounding out this trifecta of number 10, we have an Action Comics number 10. And this one is great because it is the third cover appearance of Superman. And you got Superman punching a plane. And this is round about the time that you notice the people who are doing Action Comics that, well, if they put Superman on the cover, it's going to start selling more. So from here on out, you're going to see more and more Superman covers and more appearances of him in Action Comics. Now, the price is $300,000, which is a 7% increase over last year.
This book's going up, up, and up.
It is.
Ooh, and that finishes off at number 10. Let's move on to number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Number 9 is Pep Comics 22. Now, some of you are not going to be familiar with Pep Comics because it isn't a superhero. Okay, that's the significance of it. The cover is very superhero driven.
Yeah.
Pep Comics 22 is a great cover. I mean, in this title was basically a character named the Shield, which wore red, white, and blue, very much like Captain America's stripes. Beautiful book. Hangman and a sidekick. This has a huge boot coming at you on top of the world, like you're being stepped on by the tyranny of both Japan and a swastika on the boot. So they have these stamps on there. It's a fantastic cover.
Wow.
But on the inside is the first appearance of Archie. So this is the first time we got to see this character who, again, I believe, 1941 was this book?
Mm-hmm.
So to have it be now we're in 2018 and we're still seeing the relevance of Archie shows just how prolific of a character this really was.
Right. Riverdale, too.
Sabrina spinoff
Yeah.
from the just Archie MLJ
All of it coming in
world.
right back right now. Fantastic. What are the gains on this book?
So this book had a 9.2 from Overstreet at $350,000 with a 9% increase. Now I'm going to assume at 9.2 this book is far greater than $350,000. So this is the number I have from Overstreet. $350K, 9% increase.
But just like all the books on this list, they all could be
way more. It's not just Archie's first appearance on here. You also have key characters such as Jughead and Betty.
Yeah, huge characters in the run. Go on to have their own titles too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's move on to number 8.
Number 8, we have Captain America Comics number 1. Now, we know Captain America. We've seen Captain America. He's been around for absolute years. But when you think about Captain America Comics number 1, this amazing, iconic Jack Kirby cover where he's punching Hitler, a lot of people think World War II. What they don't realize is this book came out in March 1941, and we didn't enter World War II until December of 1941. So we actually have this American hero punching a guy that we're not even at war with yet. So Simon and Kirby were getting death threats. I mean, you have these guys who are honestly, this was a very, very controversial book. It was really one of the first over 1 million seller books. This is one of those books that was just crazy out there. Iconic cover. And historically and retrospective wise, it is way more poignant and powerful than it probably was when it first came out. But $460,000 is the price that they have in Overstreet. But there was a documented sale 4 years ago at 1.2 million in a 9.2. So we know that these are changing hands for a lot of money, many, many multiples over. It's a 15% increase over last year, but again, we don't know how high this could go if you have a nice looking copy.
Ooh, I love that book too. Yeah. I think of all these books on here, this has one of the most classic covers of any of the Golden Age. Mm-hmm. For sure. All right, moving on to number 7. We have another Action Comics key book. Action Comics number 7. Coming out in December 1938. This is the first time Superman actually makes the cover of Action Comics, other than Action Comics number 1. Cover art and pencil work by Joe Shuster, and written by Jerry Siegel. This book's going for about $400,000 according to Overstreet, and that's a 14% increase year over year, about $60,000. Wow. And this is a story about Superman. Actually, technically, it's Clark Kent going to do an interview with someone who's running a circus. And because the circus is in such poor shape, he realizes he can help him as Superman by being the strongman feature of the circus act. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
That's not the reason why this book's hot, though. It's because he's on the cover.
Right.
But Action Comics number 7, coming in at the list at number 7. Mm-hmm. Let's see what's coming in at number 6.
All right, so coming in number 6 is another all-time favorite cover for me and many people, is Marvel Comics 1. I mean, this imagery is amazing. This is the first appearance of Human Torch, which at that time frame was an android.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't this flesh person. He was a robot that was created.
And this isn't FF.
Yeah, this is not FF, okay? It's no Dr. Doom in this one. Okay, and the cover is this flaming figure coming through this huge steel wall at a character shooting a gun at you. I mean, it's an amazing image. So Marvel Comics 1 has the first appearance of Human Torch. It also has the first published appearance, really, of Submariner. So you have 2 iconic, amazing characters. Plus, you have other backup Golden Age characters like the Angel and Khazar, who was just a huge pulp star before he came into the comics. So this is a great book, loved by everybody. And we have a friend of the podcast who actually just purchased this book last week in a 6.0. Okay. Yeah, he called me before he even knew we were doing a list. And he's like, dude, guess what I bought? I was like, what's up? What'd you buy? He's like, guess. And I guessed a couple times. And
if someone's telling you to guess, you know it's going to be a good book.
Right.
What were if you were down to 2 books, what would they be?
YOUThe Comics 1.
That was your guess?
That was my guess because he's been after that book.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
YOUThe
And he's been close.
Oh, wow. That's that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, that just fell off this chart literally at number 11.
That's right.
So it was close.
It's an honorable mention right there.
And really after this year, it'll probably be in the top 10 next year. Spoiler. So I guessed Marvel Comics won because it's just like, it's got to be an epic book like that. And sure enough, he's like, yes. Michael D'Agostino, shout out to you. Friend of the
Michael.
podcast. Way to
Did we
be.
meet him in New York?
We did meet him in New York.
Oh, at the... Is that him?
Yeah, the Metropolis Art
Hey,
Show.
we met you there.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Really cool
That was
book.
a fun show.
It was a great show.
All right, this is for Michael. Let's see how your book's doing, Michael.
All right, Michael. At 9.2, Overstreet puts this at $680K with a 9% increase. Okay. That book at a 9.2 would be probably over $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
Okay. Easy. I mean, it's gorgeous. And it was printed twice. Once in October, sold out instantly. And then they reprinted again in November and sold out again. It was a huge hit. And then it was Timely's first comic book publication.
Wow.
So who eventually became Marvel Comics, obviously.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Great book.
Awesome.
Love seeing on the list. We have so much to talk about with the gold. So you definitely want to be following our Golden Age show. But don't click yet because we have to get into number 5 on this list.
Oh my gosh. So number 5, my absolute all-time favorite.
You know, I had to
superhero.
give it to you on this list.
I know. Tom was very, very kind to let me do Batman number 1. And this is such a great cover. And you got Batman and Robin swinging in on the cover. And it's Batman's origin. You got the first appearance of the Joker. You got first appearance of the Catwoman. It's just such an amazing book. And while it may not have been his first appearance, but coming in at number 5, it's so good. $750,000 for a near mint. And my God, hopefully someday I will own one. This is one of my grails. You know, this is definitely one that I want to have. I'm not, you know, this would be a great one to have. But $100,000 increase this year.
Yeah.
15%. Just amazing.
Bill Finger, man. That guy did everything. Everything that we love of Batman, it was because of him.
Truthfully, I mean, they've been talking Bob Kane for years, but if you really look into the man behind the bat, you know, there's that Hulu show, again, another one of those online series about the Bob Kane Bill Finger controversy and how we learned more about the fact that it was co-created. It wasn't just one person who did this. It's amazing when you really delve into the Batman history here.
That's right. There's a reason why Steranko got bitch slapped by Bob Kane. All right, moving on this list to number 4. We have a classic here. We have All American Comics number 16. This is featuring the Green Lantern, not the Green Lantern from the Silver Age, but the Golden Age. This one I actually think is way cooler looking than the Silver Age Green Lantern. Sorry about that, Fire Guy. But you know what? It's the truth, though. This is awesome, man. This came out in December 1940. Sheldon Moldoff actually did a cover swipe. Now, this is something that is common in the Golden Age. We have a lot of artists that are using other comic books, mostly from newsprint, because at this time, comics are new to the scene, only for a few years at the time, to trace, to model their characters. Maybe that's the best way to put it. But this one is actually a model of Alex Raymond's Flash Gordon from a Sunday panel that came out in 1939, a full year before. But this book, seeing gains of just about 7%, this book's being valued at $800,000. That's up $50,000 year over year. And funny little thing, I went online to kind of look into this book because it says in the Overstreet that Green Lantern only appears in one panel in his uniform, like in his suit in the book. So I went out and actually found the entire comic and went through it. And sure enough, you get Green Lantern on the cover and only in one panel on the inside of this book. So interesting little footnote there, but great book. And why is this beating out so many on the list? It's because of scarcity. This book basically doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't see this book. I'll see Action 1s at a con. I will see Tech 27s, Superman, Batman ones. I will see every book on this list more than I would see in All American Comics 16. I mean, it really is a tough book to find.
A lot of those early Green Lantern appearances seem to be very scarce.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on to number 3.
Number 3, we have Superman number 1. Now, this is a really, really cool book. I love the cover. Superman just coming in, big yellow cover, good, gorgeous. But what a lot of people don't realize about this book is that they're all reprints. And we have a retelling of Action number 1 and the reprint of Superman's story from 2, 3, and 4. Now, in the Action comics, you only have about 8 pages, 9 pages of Superman in each of those. So when they had the Superman number 1 that came out in June 1939, they reprinted 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, we actually have one of our regular watchers, shout out to Johnny Future.
Oh, that's right. He had that one page.
He did, and we posted on
Johnny Future.
Instagram. If you follow me and Tom on Instagram, we got posts of the single page, and he thought he was buying page from Action Comics #1. Turns out it was a page from Superman #1 because it was a reprint of what was in Action Comics. But he has a single page. Very, very cool. It was nice to hold that in our hands. But Superman #1, which is a reprint of all those great Superman stories. And, you know, I released something and then 6 months later I had to do a reprint because it's so popular. Same thing like they did with the Marvel Comics #1. These books are selling out immediately and they have to reprint them within a few months of each other. So it was cool to have a repackaging of the Superman. Coming in at 1.3 million. And it's
the first one to break the list at 1 mil. I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, I think it actually is. And this is one of those that you're going to see a lot of restoration out there. A lot of these books you're going to see when people have them graded, when you have them at the shows, you got a lot of the purple labels. Because back when these were really trading hands back and forth, restoration wasn't such a no-no as it is nowadays.
Dude, we've been talking about making a restoration show.
We do have to.
There's so much to talk about. It's different, like over time, and we've been seeing it. You know, we're going through the Wizards. It's taken a little bit longer to put these things out because there's so much information.
There's so much to do, I know.
But there's like 2 or 3 restoration pieces in there that I think at the time, you read them now, it's like, wait a minute, this is a totally different business,
right.
Like how people looked at it.
Yeah, paper touch, color touch, you know, spine restoration, all of that stuff. I mean, reinforcement, these things you can't do nowadays, but it used to be totally fine.
Oh, businesses would strive on like being prideful and how well they did it.
Right. This looks great. It almost looks like a 9, you know?
It almost looks like a 9. All right. Let's move on over to number 2 on the list. You kind of preface.
We have all mentioned this book so far in this recording. Everyone has talked about this book, and here it is at number 2.
Detective Comics, issue number 27. The first appearance of Batman. Now, something interesting about Batman. The idea of a bat creature of some kind was actually pretty common in the 30s. We actually see other types of marketing material, like bat creatures, bat monsters, types of things. And what happened was we had Vince Sullivan at the time was the decision maker over at DC Comics, and he saw the success of Superman. And if you actually look at the last book I was just talking about, issue number 7, that's the book that came out right around this time. He used that comic book. This has all been like confirmed here. He used that as an example to talk to Bob Kane and said, hey, if you want to do a superhero title, try to keep up with this superhero craze, we want to use this as a reference. And he gave him issue number 7. You can kind of see the similarities between these two books here. Definitely inspired Detective 27. But Detective 27 featuring the first appearance of Batman in a 6-page story that tells the identity of Batman as Bruce Wayne. This is another situation where the cover was a cover swipe of earlier work. This was actually taken from Alex Raymond's Flash Gordon from 1937. It's a newspaper strip. And you actually can see that in Batman's like kind of like his body language on the cover, as well as even the rope that he's holding, that it's pretty much verbatim, the same image here. But this book going up and up at $2.5 million. That's $300,000 increase year over year. That's 14%. These are better than some stocks. Like, geez. And people joke about that, but when we're talking about these types of books, I don't think of any investment, not even actual gold, is seeing these types of gains.
No, it's definitely not. And again, when you invest in tangibles, you have something you can hold in your hand. It's something you can enjoy, something you can look at, something you can put on the wall. And that's why I think there's so many people getting back into comic book collecting now, because there's the nostalgia factor. And you have, I can hold this, and this is quantifiable how much it's worth. It's not I own stocks and they're out in the ether and there's, no, this is, I physically hold this and I know how much it's worth. It's amazing.
Yeah, look at me. I'm flicking around a home.
I know, right? This is a house. Speaking of home, this next book, number 1 on the list, was the subject of the first video I ever made on this channel. And one was found in the walls of a home because back in the 30s and 40s, it was common to use comic books as, like filler for insulation. And comic books were being thrown out in like crazy amounts, so kids would hide them in walls. But coming in at number 1 on the list,
of course, Action Comics number 1.
Oh, we knew it.
Yeah, I mean, this is no surprise.
Yeah.
Everybody knows this is the holy grail of all comics.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is the first appearance of not only Superman, but of Lois Lane as well. Okay, and even really probably a third-tier character, Zatara, which is, as you guys plugged.
That was all Russ.
Totally. Yeah, Zatanna's dad, right?
Zatanna's dad. And that's back, what, 1938. So
Right. Yeah.
this is old school. So Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster had this idea of a character, okay? And you would think Superman's huge right now. So it's an automatic winner when you present it. It was not. It was not received well, okay?
For years.
Yeah, the art style and story wasn't all there at the time. And so it was only by chance, okay, that they had their opportunity to be part of Action Comics 1. I mean, it wasn't accepted right away the way it was. It had to be reformatted a little bit, put into a story. And due to a rush, the imagery of Superman crushing a vehicle on a car ended up being the cover to Action Comics 1. And they didn't even know they had a winner. They thought Action Comics 1 sold out because it had 11 stories in it, and it was a good comic. They didn't even realize Superman was the one driving it.
Yeah, it was just him.
That's why we didn't even see him till issue 7 on the cover, and then again not until, what, like 9 or 10 again? So he didn't become a constant figure on the cover until later.
Mm-hmm.
So there are rumors that the print run of this book was initially right around 200,000.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that book is obviously coveted, so anyone who finds one, good kudos to you. But also remember, there's a lot of reprints. And you got to be careful with this book, okay? Because it has been reprinted.
All of these have a lot of reprints, but Action 1 is one of those where they're like, let's actually make it look like you found a grail.
There was a Loot Crate reprint in the last year. I mean, yeah, they're just more and more Action comic reprints.
So we'll have to do a video on just seeing what exactly is a legit copy, because they are close. So, but this book at a 9.0, according to Overstreet, has it at 3.8 million. Okay, that's up 19%. And in 2014, we actually had a sale of a 9.0. Go for 3.2 million. So I'm assuming a 9.2 sale would be more than 3.8 at this point.
Man, if a 9.2 comes out, we could be looking at like 4 million. I think right around now.
Superman wasn't like he is now. I mean, Superman couldn't even fly.
Right.
He could only jump very far.
Yep.
So he was still
He was
being
a leaper.
developed. He was a leaper.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yep. Leap tall buildings, single bound. Yeah, no flying. Yep.
So that's a cool little thing too.
Oh, man. This was fun, guys. I think we're going to have to get a little creative because, you know, a lot of these books year over year are in the same slot or they move just a little bit. So maybe going into next year, we may have to revise the way we organize these lists and how we get this information to the comic book community. But we do appreciate their time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. You know, we do a lot of content. We want to make sure you're here with us. Thank you so much for the great year. Guys, any last words to the comic fam as we round out the top 10 comic books of all time video for 2018?
Thank you so much for watching this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. 2018 has been an absolute whirlwind for me and Tom, and I'm so glad we're able to bring Jeff on to the Bags and Boards podcast. This has just been an amazing, amazing time. So beautiful, so wonderful, and it's cool to watch the community grow and grow and grow. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, have a Happy New Year, and I wish you all a prosperous 2019.
Yeah, and I really hope like this channel has really been fulfilling to you guys, and 2019 is around the corner. So take all this information that we're presenting to you guys and have a great year.
Oh, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Geek responsibly.
That's right. Every day. Every day.
Enough.
Woo! Said! Thank you so much for watching the video. Link in the bio to sign up for the mystery mail call. And from the whole team to you, we hope you have a happy, happy new year. We have so much planned for 2019, and I cannot wait to get rolling. Woo! Thanks so much for giving me the best job in the world, comic fam. See you next year.